Have you ever wondered what existed on Earth long before the first human ever walked the planet? We often think of history starting with our own species, with the rise of civilizations, the building of pyramids, and the creation of empires. But the story of our world is far, far older. What if I told you that there are structures, magnificent and complex, that were built billions of years before humanity even existed? And what if I told you that these ancient constructions are not just relics of a forgotten past, but are absolutely essential to our survival today? These are not structures made of stone or metal, they are not cities or monuments. They are the fundamental building blocks of life itself, forged in the crucible of the early Earth and within the fiery hearts of distant stars. Today, we're going on a journey back in time, billions of years, to uncover the incredible story of what was built before us and why it matters more than ever. Our story begins around 4.5 billion years ago, with the formation of our planet. The early Earth was a hostile, chaotic place, a molten ball of rock, bombarded by asteroids, with a toxic atmosphere. It was a world completely alien to us, seemingly devoid of any potential for life. Yet, amidst this chaos, the first and most fundamental construction project was underway. This was the formation of the Earth's core, mantle, and crust. Think of it like building a house. First, you need a solid foundation. The Earth's dense, iron-nickel core was that foundation. Through a process called planetary differentiation, heavier elements sank to the center, creating a molten outer core and a solid inner core. This wasn't just a random sorting of materials. The movement of the liquid outer core generated something miraculous: Earth's magnetic field. This magnetic field is our planet's invisible shield. It extends far out into space, deflecting the vast majority of harmful solar winds and cosmic radiation that constantly stream from the sun and deep space. Without this shield, which was built billions of years before us, Earth's atmosphere would have been stripped away. The surface would be bombarded with deadly radiation, making complex life impossible. Every time you step outside and feel the sun on your skin without being instantly fried, you have this ancient, planetary-scale construction to thank. It's the first and perhaps most important structure that ensures our existence. With the foundation laid and the shield in place, the next phase of construction could begin. The Earth's surface slowly cooled, allowing a solid crust to form. Volcanoes erupted, releasing gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. This process, called outgassing, was messy and violent, but it was building our first atmosphere. Rain began to fall, not for days, but for centuries, filling the basins and creating the world's first oceans. It was within these primordial oceans, about 3.8 billion years ago, that the most intricate construction project of all time began, the building of life itself. We don't know the exact moment or mechanism, but somewhere in those warm, chemical-rich waters, simple organic molecules began to assemble into more complex structures. They formed the first self-replicating entities, the ancestors of all life on Earth. These first life forms were simple, single-celled organisms like bacteria and archaea. They were the architects of the next great planetary transformation. For over a billion years, these tiny microbes were the undisputed rulers of the planet. And one group, in particular, was about to change everything. They were called cyanobacteria. These microscopic organisms engineered a revolutionary new process, photosynthesis. They learned to harness the energy of the sun, using water and carbon dioxide to create their own food. As a byproduct of this process, they released a waste gas, a gas that was, at the time, highly reactive and toxic to most other life forms. That gas was oxygen. This event, known as the Great Oxidation Event, which occurred around 2.4 billion years ago, was one of the most significant transformations in Earth's history. The cyanobacteria were, in effect, terraforming the planet. They were building an oxygen-rich atmosphere from the ground up. At first, this oxygen reacted with iron in the oceans, creating massive, rust-colored deposits we now see as banded iron formations. But eventually, the oxygen began to accumulate in the atmosphere. This was a catastrophe for most anaerobic life, but it was the key that unlocked a new and more complex future. The presence of oxygen in the atmosphere led to the formation of the ozone layer. This layer, located in the stratosphere, absorbs the most harmful types of ultraviolet radiation from the sun. With the magnetic field protecting us from solar wind and the ozone layer shielding us from UV rays, life could finally consider moving out of the protective depths of the ocean and onto land. The stage was set for an explosion of biodiversity. The increase in atmospheric oxygen also paved the way for a more efficient way to produce energy: aerobic respiration. This process allowed for the evolution of larger, more complex cells, eukaryotic cells, which have a distinct nucleus and other organelles. These are the types of cells that make up all plants, animals, fungi, and of course, humans. The very energy that powers your body right now, the process happening in every one of your trillions of cells, is a direct legacy of a construction project started by humble bacteria over 2 billion years ago. So, let's recap what's been built so far, long before any primate existed. We have a protective magnetic field. We have oceans of liquid water. We have a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. We have a protective ozone layer. And we have the fundamental cellular machinery for complex life. These are not just features of our planet. They are ancient, intricate systems built and refined over billions of years. But the construction didn't stop there. As life diversified, it began to build ecosystems. Take, for example, the soil beneath our feet. Soil isn't just dirt. It's a living, breathing ecosystem, a complex structure built over millions of years by the interactions of bacteria, fungi, worms, and the decomposition of plants and animals. Early plants moving onto land began this process. Their roots broke up rock, and their decaying matter added organic material. This slow, patient process created the fertile soils that now allow us to grow our food. The agriculture that sustains our entire civilization rests upon this living foundation, another masterpiece of pre-human engineering. Consider forests. The great forests of the world are not just collections of trees. They are complex, self-regulating systems that act as the lungs of our planet. They absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide and release the oxygen we breathe. They regulate local climates, influence rainfall patterns, and prevent soil erosion. These ecosystems, built by the slow growth and interaction of countless organisms over millennia, are vital planetary infrastructure. When we talk about deforestation, we're not just cutting down trees. We're dismantling a critical piece of life support machinery that was built long before we arrived. Even the very composition of the rocks under our feet tells a story of pre-human construction. Limestone, for instance, is a rock built by life. It's formed primarily from the skeletal fragments of marine organisms like coral and foraminifera. Over millions of years, the shells and skeletons of these creatures, made of calcium carbonate, accumulated on the ocean floor, compacting into vast layers of rock. The White Cliffs of Dover in England are a famous example, a monumental tombstone built by trillions of microscopic algae over 100 million years ago. Today, we use limestone to make cement, a cornerstone of our own modern construction. We are literally building our cities using the remains of ancient life. So, what was built before humans? The answer is everything that makes our existence possible. The stable planet with its protective fields, the breathable air, and the clean water. The energetic pathways that power our cells, the fertile soil that feeds us. The complex, self-regulating ecosystems that maintain a habitable climate. We, as a species, are the beneficiaries of a construction project on an unimaginable scale, one that took billions of years to complete. We didn't build the house we live in, we simply moved into the penthouse suite. And for a long time, we haven't been very good tenants. Our activities are now dismantling these ancient structures at an alarming rate. Burning fossil fuels, which are themselves the product of ancient life buried and compressed over millions of years, is changing the composition of the very atmosphere that was so painstakingly built. Deforestation is tearing down the planet's lungs. Pollution is poisoning the oceans where life first began. Understanding this deep history is not just an academic exercise. It's a profound lesson in humility and responsibility. It reframes our place in the universe. We are not the masters of this planet. We are its recent inhabitants, utterly dependent on systems that we did not create and are only just beginning to understand. The story of what was built before us is the story of our planet's resilience, creativity, and interconnectedness. It's a reminder that every breath we take is a gift from ancient bacteria. Every meal we eat is a product of soil built over eons. Our safety from cosmic radiation is ensured by a planetary core forged in fire. Recognizing this inheritance is the first step toward preserving it. Our future depends on our ability to become not just builders of our own world, but stewards of the much older, grander world we were given. We must learn to integrate our own constructions with the ancient, living architecture of the planet. The next chapter of Earth Story is being written now, and for the first time, is being co-authored by a species that has the power to either honor the work of the last for billion years or to bring it crashing down. The choice is ours. Thank you for joining me on this journey through deep time. If you found this perspective fascinating, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that explores our amazing world. Let me know in the comments what ancient construction you find most incredible. Thanks for watching.